squads one-on-one reliably lose to basically everything they throw against you. Like Motorschützen are not bad units. They have they have 2 machine guns, they have 5.56 weapons, and they have the Resolute trait, all of which contribute to their performance. And these are also Vet1, of course. But not building up the force of fire support. This was never going to happen. It is like numerically impossible, basically, for the East German infantry to individually fight this.
M1K pushing forward, 30mm grenade launcher moving up as well, and it seems like today's NVIDIA update made it worse instead of better. The first 2 crashes in the first 20 minutes is not something that we usually had happening. Big F there. Classic NVIDIA moment. And SU-22 M4 here coming in for the Aerofire team. Trying to get the kill. Will get the kill, but that's not the kind of swing that you need right now. Like, what you would need right now as MJ player is like a double, triple kill against some tanks here. And then maybe go from there, but without some massive swings, it's gonna be hard to keep this up. And there are Phantoms, there are more Stinger teams coming in, so these SU-22s won't be able to keep this up forever. And the rest of the ground forces are just not a combined arms right now. They are just not really doing it. And yeah, there we go. GG is called, and MJ player does lose game number 1 here. And Axis
just look at the Apache.
Considerable 3-1 KD here.
Look at the Apache 8 has pretty clear what happened here. Yeah, we're walking up to the murder investigation, and the guy is still there holding the gun, you know. But I mean, this was like I don't know how much was cut off by me, by you getting the freeze there, or the crash. But I just think that going into the Echo would have been the better choice. Would have still been the better territory, and would have allowed for less like concave infantry fights against better infantry troops. Would have allowed for like a safe environment for the fire support to exist in, behind the hangars, where in the hangars also you could have Iglas, and the Iglas could keep the Apaches at a longer distance, you know. And that would have been the way to go on the long term, I think, even against the Hellfire and the TOW2 missiles. But after the early bad engagements, where the infantry lost all of its fire support, there was no going back from that. I think at that point there should have been just a reconsideration, and putting up a Fagot and a Aufklärer to the tower, and then say like, okay, let's do this again. There's nothing to be gained here. But this is why the 2 towers area is so exciting to people, because it feels like you've actually gained something when you get the enemy's tower. It feels like you've gained a position, but honestly, you just get you've inherited a lost position, a bad position.
Well, you can usually dominate the south from there, but not if you lose your BMP2s and your T-72s to a single Apache at the same moment. So yeah, that really was the issue there for MJ player, that he never could strike out from there because he overstepped his welcome and then never had the time to really re-establish a combined arms. Like, at no moment did he actually have something resembling the kind of mech force that you want to have as 9th Panzer, because Axis always swooped in, killed the new T-72, killed the new BMP2, and then MJ player was left empty-handed trying to rebuild the sandcastle. Like, it was the kid playing at the beach, and then the big wave comes in forms of Axis infantry and helicopters, and just took it all away from him again.
Yeah, I'm just saying that he should have, like, when the first time when the sandcastle fell, he should have walked 10 meters backwards and built it into a different place, you know.
Yeah.
That there was the illusion of something that had been gained by getting the tower, and then defending that area, fighting for that area, was the wrong choice.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we're gonna go into short break, guys, and then we're gonna be back with game number 2. So here we go. Game number 2. As Axis is up 1-0 now. With coming in with the World 19th Tankobi this time around. And on the other side, we have 20th Panzerna coming in for MJ players. So 2 of the top Soviet armored or packed armored formations. And before we jump in there, quick shout out, guys, to the Matcherino page where you can help out funding the tournament. And we got a good couple of people clicking the claim code button since we had the last event, and the claim code button here adds 25 cents to the prize pool. Completely for free. So thanks to all of you who did so in the YouTube VODs. And yeah, if you go to the link, click the claim code button, you add 25 cents immediately to the prize pool that will be paid by Matcherino to the players who will perform the best in the tournament. Currently, the first place of Division 2 gets a bit of a prize money as well. If we can make it up to 400 until the end of the season, Division 3 winner will get a small prize pool as well, and the rest is split between the first 4 places of Division 1. And yeah, here we have Axis and MJ player coming in. We have Axis coming around with Warheart 19th, BMP2s, Me8, Escorty, T80 BVKs, and all of that glorious stuff. And on the other side, we have the super fast, cost-efficient 20th Panzerna coming in. I'm still surprised every time we see it that it isn't banned, because it is so omnipresent in this season, and it has such a crazy win rate this season as well. So I don't know why people are not banning it.
Yeah, I think that Axis might just have have this thing figured out here. What does unstoppable force, immovable object, of course. And I'm talking about Rospecialny being there first, being very fast, being once again, interestingly, upvetted to have these 4-man teams combat capabilities enhanced to the maximum. But I think that's still going to be pretty weak going up against Spetsnaz. Maybe not necessarily anymore, but for the most time of the game, the top HE damage infantry squads. And despite I'm looking especially down at the town of Olga. I'm thinking that one of these honker deployments might be just a little bit too audacious, and the forward deployment of these Spetsnaz units can probably get them there to intercept the honkers anyways. Now, the Salamandras are going to be the main weapon to actually attack these special forces. There's no other realistic way to fight them in the early game. So Axis is most likely going to be doing not just with the Escortny, which does have the R60 missile, AA missile, but also they do get good fighters in 119th. So 119th, it's the exploitation formation. So it's like the place where the Soviet army put all of their greatest attack units and their best tanks in case there was like a potential to break through the line at some point. But they do lack the kind of standard stuff like infantry ATGMs do not appear there. They do get the Rapira, but that can't be garrisoned in buildings. So Raspetka BMP2s, helicopter opener, bunch of Spetsnaz, and when these Spetsnaz have held their ground for like the first 3 or 4 minutes, that's when you start getting the T80UDs. And even with the Conqueror's missiles in 20th Panzerna and the Gokhorns, not that many things in the 20th that can beat the T80Us and UDs in a fair fight. And I think MJ player who is playing kind of standard here with the Honker Rus opener might fall prey to the Spetsnaz as long as Axis gets the air superior. Here we're seeing one MiG-29 going against 2 MiG-21 pieces, and the numbers here tend to win these fights.
MiG-29 here, yeah, having to fall back, trying to come around. Escorty trying to help out, gets a hit, and at least will survive. Me8 Escorty even might be able to get the kill there. No, it flies on. Okay, no attack order there against MiG-21, but okay, so far a decent trade, and the Me8s are still alive. That's the key part here. They can come around, they can hunt the Me2 Salamandra as well. The first of the R60 in the south does miss though. Second one can come around in a second, but the Salamandra does have an autocannon, which the Me8 doesn't have, so Me8 can't defend, and it actually gets shut down there by the second one. And that means the Salamandra can push towards the Spetsnaz. In a CQC fight with the Spetsnaz in buildings, the Salamandra likely will lose out. MiG-29 does kill them off there, so far okay for Axis. Gets the BMP2 out there as well, and the Spetsnaz in the north got into the town, gets supported by the Me8. MiG-29 gets the Salamandra there as well. So a decent start in the air there for our player in blue, but the ground forces are not all that numerous, though the Spetsnaz, they have some fighting power. So the ones that are there can hold out for now. Just not really that much to deal with the T-72M the way it is right now. But if you can dodge it, that might not be all that impactful for now.
Yeah, the T-72 will be doing damage, but it can't actually start pushing out there because the Rapiras will just catch it. Now one Rapira actually aiming the Bastion missile already at and T-72M does not get a smoke launcher. So this is a big problem to it.
Me8 MT Escortney coming around, moving back, needs a reload. Meanwhile, the Spetsnaz GIU versus the Saperji. It's a close fight. Saperji will be able to win that with the next TNT most likely. So yeah, the Spetsnaz now moving in. Spetsnaz GIU need repair. If the Ural can make it forward and resupply those special forces, that would be big. BMP2 gets killed off by the GSR unit actually. A bit of a mistake there by Axis, letting that BMP2 go down. Those are really, really valuable. Like in most divisions that have BMP2s, you can replace them decently easily. You only get that one card of Modra Tretka with BMP2s in 1/19th, so every single one you lose means you have way less autocannons, like 1/4 less autocannons than you could have at the best of moments, because those are also the only autocannon vehicle that you get with 1/19th.
Yeah, you do get the TO-55, which does function quite well as an infantry fire support unit, but it is also under risk of getting shot by anything anything armor penetrating in the 20th Panchayana arsenal. And BMP1 leader going into the zone here and going to have to duel against the other BMP1 leader, unless the Spetsnaz crew can get an 80 shot off. With the two Sapersi, it seems like Axis is actually losing the fight for the northern town right now, though the Rapira getting a side shot against the T-72M is going to eliminate this and might even get the BMP1 leader.
T-72 disengaging here, but yeah, the Rapira having a good time so far. Does miss the next shot as it gets stunned down. And now most likely won't have enough time to get the next shot on target. So the T-72 does survive for now. The infantry of Axis is pretty low. The Ural likely won't make it through the town. So it's likely that Axis is going to be pushed out of the northern town. And then the scary mid-game part for 119th comes in. Because 119th has this super fast strong opener with the Spetsnaz, with the BMP2 Modra Tretka, with some solid helicopter support. But it doesn't have as much of the middle ground. It doesn't get any more BMP2 infantry, as you talked about. It doesn't have any T-62s or T-55s with Bastion missiles. It has the TO-55, which is okay, but it's not great, especially compared to the T-72s on the other side. And then in the late game, can dominate with the T-80UDs again. But until you get enough of them with decent enough support onto the battlefield, you are a bit vulnerable for the 20th Panzer that can just snowball with a couple of BMP1s, BMP2s, and T-72s and just come for your face.
Yeah, there's a Shilka now on the ground, so the Escortney is probably going to be pretty endangered soon. And as I said, it's 5 minutes in, and the first T-80UD is getting into fighting positions here. And this is pretty well done from Axis, like the deployment here, even losing this fight, even after losing this fight. The two Rapiras and the wide front line of recon is exactly where you want to have your T-80UD, so that if it gets shot, if it gets overpowered, it can smoke and retreat, and the Rapiras will cover the flanks and deal with the rest of the enemy tank force. And that way you minimize the risk of losing this 330-point unit.
the PRG killing off the Spetsnaz and Spetsnaz GRU in the south. So the southern town is in a bit of trouble here right now. Meanwhile, the north and retreat did go decently well. Axis at least got the Spetsnaz out of there. That's a pretty valuable unit that you can nurture back up into efficiency and use for the next town fight. You only have one card of those as well, so every Spetsnaz you lose is another irreplaceable unit for the later stages of the game. So keeping them alive from the early game can be pretty helpful. TADUD getting involved against the Fagot team here. Spotted by the Spetsnaz GRU. Decent disengagement so far. Can it get out of this? No, it likely will die there. Oh, actually jumps into the building, but still under fire there by the TADUD. And gets stunned down and will get killed off there. Dana on the other side though, already aiming for it, already aiming for the Rapira as well. And that Rapira will likely take some damage there, as it is pretty close to the salvo. Whilst the southern situation currently not developing well for our player in blue. A good push there by MJ player, not over-investing, still having the focus on the north to clean the town, but realizing that a bit of extra pressure there could get him a foothold there, and by now actually starts to really clean out the town completely. And X is trying to get some OP Spetsnaz and Spetsnaz in there again, but those might be too late. The Picotta Smack might get just into the right spot at the right time, and then potentially even just kill those Spetsnaz before they even can unload, and that would be a big blow to the position of Axis here.
Yeah, MJ Blair here is showing, and Axis's huge mistake was that unless you control the reinforcement routes, you don't control the town. So just having that two-man Sapersi squad hold that little entrance corner northeast, that was enough. And Axis, as you said, there's the 1/19th mid-game problem of not having any efficient units to build a front line with. So there weren't the standard buys to immediately fortify the town. No fagots, even the Motoras Vedkas, you only get a one card with, and you take them with the Rasvedka BMP2s, of course. And the heavy investments, the ATUD, this is coming at the cost of just not securing the Olga.
Yeah, BMP1 KR coming around. The SU-27 here now out as well, so X has really invested a lot into fighters. Even more surprising that he let the SU-24 LGB go down then, because if you invest that much into fighters, you should have them around when your bombers come in as well. But they weren't, so losing that important LGB bomber is pretty key here long-term as well. The TO-55 did help out a good amount in the south, but the Spetsnaz down to 1 hit point will need some resupply before they can do anything here again. The TDUD is still around here in the north as well, so it still can continue doing some damage, but the forces there are nowhere near strong enough to push anywhere anytime soon, so Axis currently needs to focus on getting control back over the south. Brings the reinforcements there as well, but MJ player kind of knows that as well, can't focus now fully on the south as well, and Axis really needs a foothold soon towards this town, otherwise they will struggle to get back into here.
Yeah, the TATUD is so naked here with the Dana having destroyed its support units, and with the Rospecial and GSR being in a really good position, it only needs to walk a little bit further to spot the Spetsnaz GRU, and that's going to be most of the recon for Axis gone. There's the BRM, of course, but it's in the northern, next to the lake. It's not really in the greatest position. And so with the Motostrelkis and Saperi RPOs trying to now start an infantry fight at Olga, we're gonna find out what it looks like when 1/19th does a 10-minute infantry attack against 20th Pancherna, and I just think 20th Pancherna is gonna have more units. It has space to retreat. It has the Malutkas and T-72s, which are more than enough to deal with the BMPs and the TO-55s. And I think this is going to be so inefficient that 1/19th is just going to be ground away, because most of Axis's points are currently up north, not doing anything. And those points would need to be in the action for 1/19th tempo to actually work this far in the game, but not far in to actually have a swarm of heavy tanks.
Yeah, not having an artillery piece here is going to make this push in the south pretty hard, especially with the loss of the Su-24 LGB that otherwise could take out some important strong points here as well. The Su-22 rocket doing a good job getting rid of the Mochwachwetka and blinding the front line here currently as well. The Spetsnaz got slowly repaired, but the supply truck next to them already starting to run out of supply. Another one coming in for a TADUD. MiG-29 now coming around as the first S-24 2 AT is on the battlefield here, but Coops keeping the MiG-29 back, getting a hit there, forcing it back out. Got a hit against the MiG-21, but that's not a fair trade here, as war infantry units coming into the battlefield, Su-22 probing for an attack, whilst the north completely silent right now, and the red side has the point advantage, thanks to the +2 by now.
Yeah, Axis having all the infantry be at veterancy 1 is it's pretty surprising, and I think it's commendable personally, but it does limit 119th's capacity to keep these infantry fights up like serious. Just losing this current attack here could be like 1/4 of this infantry tab.
Su-22, Syria 30 coming along. No AA being able to kill it off. MiG-29 has to be careful there. MiG-21 is only pushing it back, but that's decent enough here. No kill against the forces of MJ Player in the sky as Saperi come forward. Motostrelkis trying to push through the southern town now as well. All the TO-55s and BMP-1s can start engaging there. So the fire support is in a decent spot. ATGMs on the other side start to get around as well. T-72 is a problem, and we don't have any T-80 use here because the combined arms is not quite set up far enough to allow for a good couple more of those, and that's a problem here right now because that T-72 M1 is a tough to crack nut right now.
Yeah, and it's even doing 3 damage against the Spetsnaz here. That's, oh well, now it's opening fire against the TO-55s. The Sapersis Turmovi firing the napalm launchers at the Motostrelki, and the Motostrelki are not moving out, despite them managing to get the kill. A rocket plane coming in here, and those things are so scary. Exactly for this reason, the Spetsnaz just goes out. You get 4 of those in the deck.
Su-22 pushed back, but yeah, Spetsnaz goes down. Su-27 not quite able to catch it up there. Coops firing back here, not able to get the kill either, as the TO-55s are stuck now. The T-72 Malutka P combo is pretty scary. Would need some focus fire. As MiG-21 Bis goes down easily. Coops do miss against the MiG-29s again, but the forces here on the ground heavily in favor of the red side.
Yeah, and there's now 2 artillery pieces coming in from Axis, and Axis being the attacking player here, let's play a game of are these artillery buys justified? And these are the Masta Bs, so one of the best towed artilleries on the packed side, I think. And so this is where 15 minutes in, MJ Blair is ticking +2, and there's basically a huge static component on the north side and a constant fight happening on the south side. And artillery is constantly, repeatedly targeting coups. And I think this here is almost justified, and that is mostly just because there is so little in 119th to actually buy. So you can't invest in more infantry even though you need it, and so you invest in something that can kill the coups at the very least. And these static engagements and the fact that this game has been going on a while here, so there are a bunch of units around, a bunch of units that can be spotted by the Spets GRU, for instance, and the DRMs. I think these are still justified. But if this was not 119th, it was and the infantry attacks were being as weak as they currently are for Axis, then I would say that these artillery are a huge misbuy. because those points should be reinforcing the fight at Olga if you're gonna do a fight at Olga.
Yeah, absolutely. AT plane here, trying to come along, gets a BMP1 as well. And Axis forces here slowly but surely start to grumble, gets the kill there, that's pretty nice, but doesn't have really a way back into this town here right now. Artillery can't hit the enemy AA either. And yeah, more forces are needed to really get some damage in here, as the T80BVK and T80UD slowly roll over the open field, trying to get some kills. BMP1 under fire, gets blown up. BMP1 falling bad, Pichota smack, slowly pushing in there onto the Superior RPO, will clear the town completely once more, and the TADUD and VVKs are great at killing vehicles, and they are decent at, like, doing a bit of damage towards infantry on the side without getting hurt back, but they can't clean a town for you. Like, they just are assistant weapons in those cases, but they aren't good enough to clean the town from you just from a DPS perspective alone. And that's a big issue here. MiG-21 coming around, a lot of Eagler coming forward, get the kill. Siege plane actually gets TSU killed here, so actually gets a bit of value, but in general needs to get the hell out of it. Ooh, SU-22 doesn't get a hit there. That would have been really painful, but yeah, is pushed back. Motostrelki coming along and little to deal damage to the south here. Artillery trying to get the Dana. The Dana wasn't moved, but it survives for now. 2 more shots coming in. Can it get killed off? Oh, I don't know when I last seen this little HP. This is really lucky for MJ player.
Yeah, the Su-27 also not participating in the fight when the AT plane was diving the tanks. Now once again, actually flying off, getting buzzed off by the coups. Now a second Su-20 is diving in here, and we're actually going for the Rapira. Eaglas getting a punish.
Yeah, Su-22 going down here, and the Rapira did go down there, sure, but that's not the most impactful. More TO-55s coming in, just trying to break through the north. 14 minutes to go, so situation here needs to be shifted around somewhat soon to get the points back that you are behind here as Axis, and it's hard to see how that's going to happen. Like, you need to have a really solid T80 club, and I'm not sure if there's enough time here to fully assemble this. Yeah, BRM1K here getting involved as the +2 tick keeps on going.
Yeah, I am not an expert in playing 1/19th, of course. Don't like it, don't play it. But wouldn't the choice here be, or should the choice here have been that after Axis was driven off from the northeast town of Emma, that would have like started a 10-minute hibernation of just building up all of the forces, not just group of infantry units that will eventually get followed up by a tank, but buying the tanks, buying the fire support vehicles, then buying also the infantry and the artillery and the recon, and then at the point, let's say, when the enemy is reaching 1,000 points, and you can still absolutely turn the game around, only then will you start to engage.
I don't think that's really viable, because you lack the fire support to grind through the infantry that the Polish can throw into these towns. Like, you need to stay on top of that from the beginning, and need to manage that a bit and keep constant fire support, because if you only push in the last couple of minutes with BMP1s and T80s, like, just throwing infantry at you will grind you down for long enough that you won't make it. So you need your T80Us and your TO-55s constantly firing. And that's why 1/19th is such a tough division to play, because you need to play that mid game. You can't just skip it, but you are not good in that mid game. And that's exactly what happened here. Like, the opener went okay, but then the follow-up, the 20th Panzerna, which is an absolute beast in that regard, just kind of dominated, even though the early game did go okay for Warren 19, I would say, but MJ Player's division here just way more cost efficient and the one that can constantly set up pressure. And if you let the pressure of it, you also will just have to push through a lot of short-range T-72s that are pretty cost-efficient there as well. Like, I don't think that was the option either, but 119th in general, as I said, a hard division to get played right, though a really powerful one if you can get it right.
Yeah, I was thinking like more like instead of going into Olga, bypassing Olga and pushing the mech attack through the middle and cutting off the reinforcement road. So basically preventing and trying to cut off Olga from the enemy, only fighting the long range fights. And then when you kind of have free reign of the area, then you can start engaging on your own terms. That's all, of course, it's a little bit of high concept, and at that point, a lot of your resources will probably have been taken away by MJ Blair doing pressure. If it and we're seeing here that MJ Blair is recognizing that the enemy is not really capable of doing anything at the very moment, so they must be building up for something. So you try to apply more pressure, get the Danas out there, send some infantry. They might get sniped by your enemy, but at least they're going to have to spend their attention and some reinforcements.
Yeah, artillery here desperately trying to get some hits in. T-72 plop in the south has the attention. We did see some good kills by the T-80s, but the number here is not all that high. The damage has been done constantly, so that the T-80 printer never has gone crazy. And there is a new T-80 BVK coming in, but holding off against the S-22s, against that the Polish can bring, holding off against the Polish cost efficiency in general, really, really tough. That's why I said I don't understand why it wasn't banned. Like, this division currently just feels like it still has it nearly all. Like, the T-72 M1 are nerfed a bit, so it's not completely mental anymore, but it still has cheap planes that it can throw at your helicopters that are fine with sacrificing. It has really cost-efficient, cheap infantry. It has really cost-efficient, cheap AA with the Shilkas, with the higher accuracy as well, that have the per-user accuracy, but cost only the null price of the normal Shilkas, and all of that stuff. So 20th Panzerna, really hard to beat deck. The Su-22, a fantastic plane as well. BVP1 here, tried to push forward. T-72 finally gets killed off, but the issue is 15 minutes now remaining, so the blue Div now really needs to turn it around. Gets another T-72 kill, and if you would have 3, 4, 5 T-80s at this point, you could maybe do the bypass that you were talking about, but bypassing 20th Panzerna, as I said, is not easy as well, because they can have a T-72 that can just come out of a bush and side shot, one shot kill you still in a T-80. So it's not like the division on the other side doesn't have any armor to bring around. Against lighter divisions, you maybe can bypass Olga. Against 20th Panzerna, I don't think you can just roam around like that.
Yeah, immediately MJ Blair, like the Malut vehicles were out of position and got killed, but those things are 55 points and they deploy at 100 kph. The Fagots are 50 points and they also deploy at 100 kph. So you can...
Good Dana hits here against the Modradredka. Can they make it out alive? Like, keeping the recon alive is also always something so important with War at 19th, because your T-80 UD can only do anything if it sees anything, and that's currently struggling to do, because, yeah, the next good recon got shut down, so trying to push closer to the town. Mi-24P has to be careful. We have the T-80 BVK moving into the town. Mi-24 goes down there though. AA is strong, and Pulmachiki coming in, Saperi coming in, TO-55's coming in. Like, there is a lot of force pushing in, and MJ player just has to be careful to not overextend completely here. And the T-72 pushes currently are a bit of that, though killing 2 Mi-24s does alleviate the situation a bit. If all the T-72s go down, and then maybe the move around the towns and maybe straight into Sign can happen, but really only then.
Yeah, MJ players' tank attack is facing the TO55s here and getting some very good engagements. But if they push just a little bit too far in, there are hidden infantry that will just do free damage against the T-72s. But even here, I think this is a MJ player is literally just trying to do things, recognizing that the end game scenario, the less Axis can plan these engagements themselves, the better MJ player is, that the likelihood of MJ player winning this.
Yeah, Coops here trying to get involved with the S27, do miss it, so it gets the kill and gets out. The 152mm still need to come around, and yeah, the northern push with the T-72s and BMP-1s here, not amazing for MJ player by any means, but it gets forward, and the CV even might make it into the zone, and there's no CV in the zone for Axis. No, gets it before it can move in. That would have been really painful. But yeah, next T80UD on the way. Another BMP recon goes down. 2 recon goes down for Axis. Saperji RPO coming around here. Trying to make it out of the transports. But the T-72's in the bushes, still around to deal with the BMP-2, with the BMP-1 recon. TO-55's not the ones to deal with them, obviously. The T-80s can, but they are not pushing it right now. They don't have the recon. No BRM-1 with this right now. There are a lot of red units dying, but there is still no tick here, and it's only 12 minutes at this stage.
Yeah, up north here, the Pulamachiki have ran out of AT weaponry, so the BMP-1 is going to go try to hug them. A T-80U is rushing in to save them, and an Ural is going to try to resupply this Pulamachiki. But I mean, MJ Blair has 3 BMP-2s with infantry going to keep this attack up, so this attack is still going to keep happening. But down south, we're not seeing any reinforcements for MJ Blair to secure this southern area, and I think that's probably the right choice. You have the capacity to just stun lock the enemy tanks at the very least with the Malyutkas and the Fagots. So now you just play the field. Now you just try to force the enemy to participate in the attack up north, and then you litter the area in between with ATGMs, so it's going to be difficult for them to move up.
Yeah, TAD BVKs and TAD UDs keep on the pressure now. BM1KR comes around. The win condition here for Axis is getting to sign. I don't think he can push to the north anymore. He has it decently under control of the TADU and the OP Spetsnaz that will come around there. Still has to be a bit careful to not overstay his welcome there. A TO-55 might be in a bit of trouble. But he needs to push now into the rear zone. And MJ player might have opened that up a bit too much now. As I said, the overstepping with the T-72, literally the only way that MJ player could throw this, with some more expensive units going away, and with his defense against the TADU crumbling, because the one weakness that the 20th Panzer has is the lack of conquerors. You don't have any conquerors outside of the BMP-2s, so you don't have any high penetration missiles. So the only thing that can penetrate the TADU is a T-72 M1 on short or medium range. And those are pretty low numbers here, so this push of Axis actually could shift this all around. This is really massive right now, and this is a big, big problem for MJ player.
Yeah, this is AT plane territory, but the Su-27 is making that very risky. And yeah, suddenly MJ players attack up north maybe becomes a must-win scenario. Like the if you can't deal with Axis holding that ground here, if you don't have the helicopters, the airplanes, and the tanks to fight them off, they can get into your spawn. They can just drive into your spawn. And with the Su-27s, I don't know if there are any coups left to be bought. I mean, there's one coup left on the field at least. But yeah, this is a very bad.
The one big mistake by Axis here right now is that the BRM-1K didn't move with this push. There is no recon for all these TO-55s and TADUDs, and that's obviously leaving you open for side shot. That means you can't see the Fagot until you are just right on top of it, so it can get a couple of shots out for free. BRDM-2s immediately being called in. The BRM-1K is still being missed in that he has already a bit closer to the front line. And this might be a bit problematic with the amount of Malyutkas coming in here, the T-72 M1 coming in from the north. He is trying to get just on top of all of this. Malyutka launcher coming around from the side. He tries to smoke off, driving off into the smoke. TO-55 does go down. He gets the kill though, and he will get into the rear zone. Malyutka gets a good hit against the TO-55. Okay, now it's really down to the T-80s. T-80U moving around on the other side of the town as well. Artillery immediately coming in on top of all of this. And the T-72s slowly coming in. It would have been so much easier with the BRM-1K here spotting for all of this. Urals go down, so no resupply for these units either. That's a bit of a problem here for Axis, but the T-80Us are hard to kill. Really hard to kill for MJ Player.
Yeah, in practice, these T-80Us are going to get stunned before they're going to get killed, unless there is some really big side shots. So with enough numbers, with just few numbers here, I think it is realistic for the T-72s to be able to fight these tanks off before the points difference crosses the 1,400. Oh, here we have a T-72 actually front fighting AT-ATU up north. This has potential to be massive. There's nothing to support this outside of the second T-72 now also moving up here. And this T-72, this T-80 attacking up north is very important because it breaks the concave, those almost a perfect concave, like half moon, going against the breakthrough T-80s. Oh no, but there's a massive side shot coming in. The T-72 leader gets killed, but
ADU goes down as well. MI-24K does spot it here. BRM2s trying to come around. The T-72 M1D leader will contest the zone, will reduce the tick, and the tick is really important here for Axis, as he is the one behind on points, and a +2 is not good enough. Even with a +4, it's not going to be easy, and even that might be a bit too little here. And yeah, it's only a +2 right now. His T-80UD with the 21 frontal armor moving around. MI-24K trying to come around against the T-72 M1. That one, he should have the better aim. No, he does have the better aim, but not by enough, so that he still gets shot back. T-72 M1D leader gets the T-80U BVK, and that should be the end of it. That should get it back here for MJ Player. The push should have come with the BRM-1K. If that would have moved with the push, this could have been a lot more efficient, but that one was forgotten at home, and with that, the zone will get back in the hands of the Reds here. MJ Player has the control over the zone again. He really made it harder for himself than necessary by throwing in T-72s here in the counter pushes, but in the end, the cost efficiency of the Polish and the really strong early game here, or mid game especially, does prevail.
Yeah, that was a game. It was a game right there.
Yeah. Axis, in the end, having the better KD, but Div1 at 19 needing the better combined arms on the battlefield and struggling to get that cost efficiency wise. That didn't matter. A lot of those points also were in aircraft, because MJ Player's air tab likely was empty in the end, and there was still a good couple of amount of fighters in Axis ones. But yeah, MJ Player with the cost efficiency of the Polish and a really, really strong mid game, equalizing the score and bringing us to the decider game in this best of 3. So the next game will decide who will make it in as the third place of Season 4 Division 2 in the WARNO League. And this one will be an exciting one, so don't you run away. Quick break, and then we're gonna go into the next one.
And hello for
So here we go, everybody, and thanks for the follow. You, Hang Kao, Empo, and Moyai123. Much appreciated. And yeah, let's get into this decider game. All for third place in Division 2. As X is an MJ player, bringing around really nice divisions here. X is on the left side, bringing around the 5th clean day. It's MJ player, brings around the 6th Motostrucky. A pretty dynamic duo here as well. And if you want to support the channel, guys, consider leaving a like on YouTube. And if you have a Twitch Prime laying around and you want to help me, paying a bit more of my rent with those Twitch builds, consider leaving that here as well. And yeah, leave a follow over at the Chloride channel as well once you're at it. And with that said, let's get into the action here. As Axis comes around with a good amount of AMX 10 Sublemed and 6 Motostrucky, a division that we see a lot in 2v2 tournaments, but not quite as much in 1v1. Can you tell us why that is, Chloride?
Yeah, it's because the 6th is wonky. It doesn't have like a solid spine. It doesn't have the fundamentals necessary to fight off other divisions, better fundamentals. But what it does have is a lot of situational stuff, and a lot of that situational stuff can be used either in team games when your basically can be carried by a 79th or 20th Pancherna in your team, but also against certain divisions here. And so let's recap some of these interesting units for 6th. There's the Spetsgruppe A, which is the Special Forces Close Range Infiltration unit. So this thing, in the infantry opener, does beat even the commandos on close range because of the satchels, and generally fights off all the French infantry. There are both T-55s, which are good on their own. There are Mi-2 urns, which are quite good, and they're upvetted here. There are heavy tanks, T-64s and T-80s, which will beat the French tanks in late game. And there are also Luftsturmjägers, which are East German paratroopers coming in on helicopters, unarmed helicopters in this case. And there are some mix of kind of standard mediocre packed infantry from the Soviets and the East Germans, but not BMP2s, only BMP1s. This means that in kind of Spetsgruppe A is not going to be followed up by a massive, powerful push of BMP2s. So something wonky has to be done, something specialized. And one of the strengths here is for MJ player, 6th gets great artillery, and 6th gets really good cost efficiency airplanes.
Also, really good AA with the Buk, the best AA piece in the game. So, really, the support weapons in that division are fantastic. It just doesn't have the best baseline units. It has okay baseline units, but that's why it's played so much in 2v2 games. Like, yeah, those Buks, those hyacinth artillery pieces are just amazing. But D64s, TADBs, and the BMP1 infantry are all solid, but they are not the top end that you would want in your 1v1 deck. So you have to play around that support, and that support actually needs to get some damage in. And with the French putting as much pressure here as they do, it's hard to get that support online.
Yeah, but the Mi-2 urns here, we can see, are already performing against the French recon opener. The Rapira is a great counter, the AMX-10, because it can't get one-shot, but can one-shot the Surblinde, even outside cannon range. And now Spetsgruppe A here, we're already seeing it's getting great engagements. There was a single ZPU-4, kind of the World War II era, Cold War era, AA machine gun thingy, quad machine gun, which destroyed the Gazelle. And now a Jaguar is actually bought to try to deal with the Soviet cops here, getting a nigh perfect hit, only single recon unit soldier left. Yeah, with no reinforcements inside.
The Spetsgruppe there being bombed like this, really painful. Those special forces otherwise could have dominated this forest in the infantry fights for a long while. But instead, that zone now will go to Axis. So MJ player now has to maybe put a bit more pressure onto the north, though good news is that North is really open right now. Axis did lose the recon there, did overpush a bit with the Eclairs there maybe, and now only has one Mistral and an AMX-10 hot there. That's everything. So MJ player could just push in there. The question is, does the MJ player smell that weakness, and does MJ player go for it? Because we know that information, but MJ player obviously doesn't have the god view that we have on this whole match.
Yeah, there's a serious lack of recon, especially in the middle area here. The Rolands have not been shown, I don't think, outside of opening fire on the mix, and even the T80. Oh, the T55 actually getting ambushed by an Eclaireuse on the sidelines here. That's a very nice kill here for the recon team to try to remove this thing from the fight. Try to buy a little bit more time for the to buy defenses. But the south area with the very powerful anti-air and the fact that the Surblindes and the AMX-30s are kind of in the reserve, attacking the middle with any kind of mech or anything does not seem to be that sensible. I think MJ Blair now backing off with the T64 is going to have the BRM go out there, and when the BRM is out there, maybe applying pressure at the same time up north and in the middle. But unfortunately, the best time for it might have already passed with the Chasseur getting into Delta.
Yeah.
MJ Blair investing into a second wave of infantry to try to pressure Bravo, and it's true, there is not anything on Bravo really outside of a single tank and a single infantry squad, but still doesn't seem to be the best place to invest. Though on the other hand, these are the BMP-1 PGs, the ones with the grenade launchers, so they're actually quite nice at doing damage to infantry.
MI2 goes down in north. Book, unfortunately for MJ player, not hitting there. Second missile does miss as well. So yeah, the BMP-1 units coming in for the south. UATs will take control over the north, at least reduce the tick to a +1. And yeah, the C64 T80 ball in the later stages can absolutely do some damage as well, but you have to be careful to not start losing them bit by bit. Book gets bombed here. Oh, great play by Axis. This is a classic Axis kind of maneuver. Baiting out the Book with the first Jaguar, hitting it with the second one once you know where it fired from. We have seen this a lot of times from him with second Panzer Grenadier, and he did that phenomenally here as well, showing you why you usually want to have an interlock of air-based AA and ground-based AA, so that those kind of situations are easier to punish, where the enemy can just run you down like that. And yeah, now the Jaguars can come around easier later, and the first Book going down really, really painful and hard to replace here for MJ player in the current position.
MJ Blair pushing out just before the BRM is inside, giving the Milan a free kill. That's a huge miss micro here from MJ Blair's side, and might actually cost him the T64 with a cluster plane trying to get in here, but MiG-31 is right behind it.
Yeah, MiG-31 and MiG-21, the combo of the weakest and the best of the Soviet ASFs. And the MiG-31 here reigning supreme, going back home. It's not the best missile loadout. It's not the insane loadout that you get with 76 MiG-31s, but still, that long range fire and forget missiles, those can be really scary. MiG-30B2 here getting shot by the Rapira. Rapira does fail to connect. That's unfortunate. BRM-1K did go down on the low ground, and the Rapira likely not being able to get another shot out here in time. P4 Milan coming around. The missile does connect in time. This is key here. This allows the Motostrelkis to get in with the BMP if they move around. Also likely being able to maneuver here. The P4 Milan actually missing twice. Annoying for Axis here as the BMP-1 PG slowly falls back, and getting into the southern town, that would swing the game a lot and give MJ player a good bit more time. So this kill on the AMX-30B2 really, really impactful.
Yeah, the MJ Blair has kind of just not done the not played aggressively enough in the northern area here, and the middle T64 play was just a full-on catastrophe. So I'm kind of predicting that the middle play will stop happening, and the MJ player is going to fully rotate into Bravo, now losing a MiG-21, but also getting some pretty precise info on where those Rolands are, though not buying an artillery piece, as I was suspecting.
Yeah, Book coming along again. The MiG-21 here, patrolling weirdly. Struggling to get on target. Now being too fast compared to the Jaguar, and the height differences there making it a bit tougher as well. MiG-21 only getting one missile on target. The Book once more not connecting. Unfortunate there. So that the bomber got through with its bombing run. The MiG-21 even going down. ZPU here, good fire support on the ground, dealing with the chasseurs in the forest. It's not the best AA, even against helicopter, it's only mediocre, but it's pretty good fire support. ZPU4 getting the kill there. Whilst the Motostrelki with the BMP-1 PG did make it into the southern zone, though one of them over pushing it a bit, getting shut down there.
Actually, it was all of them over pushing. They were pushing against this P4 Milan, which was taking shots at them earlier, and then they managed to intercept the reinforcements coming in, got one hit with a fagot, and then got completely caught out of position. And right now, the Motostrelki and the BMP-1 are going to be able to stay inside the zone for the moment. And with the T-64 getting repaired, as long as MJ player doesn't try to get up the plateau, doesn't try to get into Charlie immediately, I think it can win the fight on Bravo. The problem is that moving the T-64 into position to support the Motostrelki right now is going to run basically the obstacle course of Milan and hot missiles before it reaches the target.
Yeah, the P4s there are pretty scary. The recon here non-existent for MJ player in the south. Has a bit of recon in the north. Has one BRM1K in a pretty good spot. But even the north currently actually lost all the recon. So that's something that MJ player for sure needs to bring around again. Playing WARNO without recon is meaning that you're playing it maybe not quite blind, but you play it with the guy with the vision of like a 95-year-old without glasses. It's all pretty blurry, and you might have a general sense where the enemy are, but you can't strike them with any accuracy, and that's a big problem. Whilst the recon here on the side of Axis is really, really strong. T-55A under fire, and they had tried to push forward here. Ooh, gets in range, actually gets the shot off, but doesn't get the kill there against the AMX-10 Hot. The 3 frontal armor does pay off there. Gets another shot out, but does get hit and doesn't get the hit in return. And it seems like Axis, with the reinforcements now, should be able to get back in control over the south. That AMX-10 Hot is in a fantastic position. Oh, gets the next up area RPO and BTR. The cluster bomber comes around for a T-64. Does get damaged and killed off, and that's because of that the bomb spread is too far. T-64 does survive. Finally a victory there for MG player, getting the kill, but the southern situation is desperate here, as without the sub-area RPO he has no chance against the chasseurs, so it's back to the north now for MG player. Their access is still weak, but MG player lacks the recon to push.
Yeah, this I really think a lot of this is due to the middle attack. There was just no reason to do that middle attack anyways, and then when it happened, it was completely mismicroed, losing the BRM and getting a T-64 pushed out. If this T-64 would have just moved to fully commit to Bravo or to Delta, the game could be completely different right now. So much time has been bought by 5E, and by this lack of commitment up north and the two-pronged attacks failing, requiring commitment. And up north, there are 2 book launchers. These things are expensive. The 155 points. That's a lot of income to just sit there And when they're not even in the most optimal position for anti-air, something should have been done up north, and finally stuff is moving up.
Yeah, but without recon moving anything is tough. And like the recon all got shut down. The bombers hit that pretty well, and that really is the issue here right now for MJ Player. And the recon tab in general, one of the problems of 6 Motorstrelke, you don't get good economy there. So the amount of recon units here might be pretty limited at this point in general for MJ Player, if with the loss ratios we have seen for those recon units so far. And that makes pushing there pretty tough, as he also brought a lot of defensive units like the CPU, like the Rapira, so even though he has a good amount of units there, units that actively can push are actually a good bit lower in number. Gets the Gazelles, gets the Hot, but there are now AMX 30s there against him. AMX of 1 coming in against the Giacins. The South fully back under control of Axis, +1 does continue to tick, as MJ Player needs to get more control over this northern situation.
Yeah, the Hyacinth is not targeting or firing right now, and the AMX 30s are attacking the exact side of MJ Player's attack with no tank defenses. And now the tanks are moving out there, try to gain some ground, but they're going to get dangerously close to the Chasseur 700 meter 80 rocket range, and also quite close to the AMX 10s. Jaguar AG at least gets taken out here, and engaging the AMX 10 hot on close ranges is better than range, of course, because the tank guns will get the advantage here. But the Chasseurs could just stop this immediately because there is no infantry support right.
Yeah, no infantry support, no recon to spot for anything. The T-64 goes down, trying to push the south, but there was no recon for it either. And that means it got shut down there as well. HE Bomber coming for the Hyacinth, as there is no Book support there. The dodges last second and gets heavily damaged, but does survive. That's somewhat helpful here. Tunguska coming around, MiG-21 coming around. Both will not do the job here. Whilst the D-55As, yep, both got shut down there in the north. They got the MX-10 hot, but that's not a fair trade at all. And now there's no pushing power for MJ Player in the north. Now MJ Player does capture the center, but real pushing power is not a thing there either. The Rapira gets involved with the MX-10 hot. The BMP-1s go down. Rapira gets done down, and the MX-30 B2 here will finish off the job. Most likely, yeah, next shot does it. So this permanent push of MJ Player in the south not really functioning, and the rest of the map really in desperate need of recon, and that recon is just not coming because it might not be available anymore.
Yeah, it's much like the girl I was dating a year ago. There is no commitment here. The like lack of commitment is such an issue for MJ Player. MJ Player had all the pieces set multiple times for a long time up north, but then his attention started going into the other attacks. Now there is a leader has captured the middle and gained a little bit of tick here, but this is not a sustainable position really, because you're losing so many units in the southern attack that have also repeatedly failed, that the AMX 30s and the Eclaireurs can start threatening your reinforcement route into Charlie, meaning that Charlie is gonna have to be held with units coming from the northeast, which is just all just cascading into worse and worse engagement. The MJ Blair, like 10 minutes ago, deciding to solidly to just do one thing and then kind of secondarily commit to a second thing, and not secondarily commit to like all the things. That is why I think Axis has gotten such a decisive position here, because it's not like Axis has not been making mistakes here. Axis has just been given a lot of positions where his fundamentals can just get results, and doesn't get punished for the lack of units or the lack of foresight in other areas.
Yeah, the Motorstrelke BMPs pushing forward, pushing back the AMX-10 RC out of there. And it is currently a +1 situation with this capture of the middle point for MJ Player. But just lacking any meaningful presence there to really keep this up. The MXR1 of Axis doing a good job. Giacint comes back against the Dragon Para, so that might be a tete-a-tete trade here. Was the Jaguar coming in for the UWATs? Might get the hit there. UWATs actually moving into the bombs. Should have moved forward and then immediately backwards. Tunguska, oh, getting so close. Might get the kill there with the last couple of shots. No, barely keeps the Jaguar alive. Ooh, that pilot really might have brown pants there at that moment. The diaper for sure is full. Giacint.
I don't know what you mean, Protoss. All military pants are brown, especially in the Eastern Bloc.
Yeah, but that was a Jaguar pilot, and the Giacint
yes.
getting the kill against the Dragon Para. I'm pretty sure the French are too fashionable for stuff like that. BMP1, PG, trying to get the shot up forward against the MX-10 Hot. Well, it's BRM-1K moving around. I mean, you remember how they went into World War I? Pretty sure the pilots don't wear good camouflage either.
It's even like nowadays, the standard French woodland camo, you can see it as a fashion piece for women, and it's completely standard functional field jacket, but the camo is just a little bit more sensitive, a little bit more stylish, not like pragmatic enough that middle-aged women use it. At least in Finland.
Yeah.
Probably not as well.
Yeah, the French field camo is for sure, looking a bit more fashionable than, for example, the Flecktarn of the, the Streiftarn of the NVA, which is just the most ugliest piece of kit that you could see. But
I actually have a neighbor. I have a neighbor who's like a 19-year-old girl who wears East German Stricktarn like field suit, but she cut them off to be a sleeveless jacket and shorts, and that actually looks kind of nice.
Yeah, no, we only used the blanket of it for picnics and stuff when I was young. The remaining supplies of my father. But yeah, Giacint here still trying to get some shots. AMX-30 B2s moving forward. The +1 is real. Conquers getting involved. The 400 points advantage on this map can be quite significant. Getting a good tick on this map is not easy. It's a bit easier than on Black Forest, but still not an easy task to get a +3, get a +4 on this map. So those points can be really relevant. And finally, we see some more focus here in the middle, but that's just right at the moment where the south completely collapses for MJ Player. And that means that Axis could potentially flank from there. Like the MX-30s could move up, could threaten the Giacint, could threaten the rear line here. Maybe they come towards the TADB from the rear, and this is a big problem. The issue of a lack of recon is still a big thing here as well, and it just seems like there might not be any. We have 2 BRM-1Ks, those are fantastic, but the lack of a Grenzer or Aufklärer here, any kind of recon infantry, is a really, really big problem, especially against AMX-10 RCs, which have better stealth whilst having that good gun. So you don't want to just get shot by them without being able to retaliate. And that's kind of what happens if you don't get any recon infantry in front of your troops.
Yeah, the Axis being able to just have the Grenadier Voltigeurs and the Commandos, buy them as these quick reinforcements in the middle here, already having this web of AMX-10 HOTs, Milan 2s, and even some tanks here in the front. Not to mention that there's a potential for the AMX-10 on Delta to move a little bit to start side-shotting any mech that pushes forward. But yeah, with outnumbered, the T-80s get stunned down, and the AMX-30 B2's penetration is decent enough to destroy them, even if their armor isn't. And with some Luftsturmjägers coming in and trying to deploy into an attacking position on Charlie, I think this is going to be... It's a matter of time before Axis's forces on Bravo just F-move onto Echo, and there's nothing MJ Blair can do about it.
Yeah, the artillery here now trying to come in onto the MX-30s. Not able to do so. UWATS goes down, and that means the center goes blue again.
Yeah, 5e has been given so many engagements on their own terms, which is the result of MJ Blair letting the tempo advantage early on just completely vanish. The Spetsgruppe A units did actually perform quite well on Bravo, and the French infantry was completely decimated by the T-55s up north, and that really would have been the moment, I think, to just take a more aggressive stand. Realize that you have forced the enemy immediately at the start to buy some like basic units as reinforcements. Could have invested early on into the T-64 and send it to act as the fist of all of your support units that can create like a safe space around the T-64. And that's why like the MJ Blair's choice of trying to send it alone into Charlie, supported by a single recon unit, when singular tanks are so easy to stun down, even with pretty light cannons, and even if you have like AMX 10s, which can get killed by a single shot, if you get the suppression out there, the low cohesion tank is gonna have like quite little accuracy, even if its rate of fire is kept up by an auto.
Yeah, ATGM here from the Conquerors trying to come around, but the tank numbers here just not great for MJ Player. 1 T80, 2 T64s. Well, on the other side, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 AMX-30s now, with a lot of ATGM vehicles that are lacking on MJ Player's side as well. Like, those number games are just becoming really tough at this point, and an MX-10 RC goes down, that's nice and all, but the T-64 here is in big danger as well. Will need resupply. The MiG-21 BIS cluster can't really come around here. The baits the Mirage out, but the Rolands and the Mistrals are fantastic AA as well. The French really having really good Shorat, and the MiG-21 cluster here trying to get in for an MX-10 hot, and doesn't even get to drop its bombs before getting shut down. This is a pretty expensive MiG-21. T-64 goes down to the artillery fire as well. Axis is really solidified the position that they're in now, and I don't think we are that far away from a GG at this point, as MJ Player's combined arms just can't be replaced at this point. Your numbers aren't endless in 6 Motostrelki, and they are falling apart rapidly right now.
Yeah, the French, the 5e has this late stage form of itself, where the whole map is littered with really good ATGMs and really good infantry with great anti-tank rocket launchers. So even if their mass tank is only the Brennerses, the AMX-30s, which still do more than enough damage to fight other tanks, but just don't get the armor, you don't have to rely on them. The late stage 5e can destroy attacking enemies with their attacking tanks with the Hot 2 missiles, either from the air or on the ground. They have cluster bombers, they have good bombers, they have good autoloader artillery, the AMX ALF-1s. So they just don't need the modern main battle tank. And in the earlier on, before they have that network up, before they have all of their good units on board, that is when you want to start pushing them out. You want to have the tank advantage when they can't have the numbers on. And that really was the big mistake for MJ Blair. And I think 6th is actually a pretty nice counter division to a lot of the stuff that 5e does. And MJ Blair was just not up for it this game.
Yeah, and that means Axis is the 3rd place player in Division 2. As I said, doesn't change that MJ Blair will move on to Division 1 next season as well. But Axis getting the honor of the bronze medal here with a 2-1 victory. Really nice season from both players. A really strong show in Division 2 this season by nearly all players in general. Really good games, cool games, meta getting pushed a bit, quality quite high, and a lot of good shows here. The finals was fantastic as well with Nocturna versus Snow Wolfie, but it's time to go one step higher, guys. As it's time for Division 1, where we will have the OG coming up against a new contender for Division 1. Joker Tart versus Team in Place. Best of 5 semifinals coming up after a short break, guys. As the maybe best WARNO player in history versus one of the new faces, as I said. So let's see how that goes. Joker Tart versus Team in Place up after a short break. And here we go. The next semifinals of the WARNO League Season 4. As we have Team in Place and Joker Tart here in front of us. And we have to find the opponent of Pro Commute. As Team in Place tries to defend his title as the best WARNO competitive player ever. Well, it's Joker here, coming up from Division 2 last season, trying to go straight away for the Division 1 title as well. And we have a cool matchup here, as we have two divisions that in name are only one number apart. On the left side, 9th US Infantry. On the right side, 8th US Infantry. And we are on the classic map of Two Lakes. And yeah, they're only one number apart, but they are pretty different in what they can bring, aren't they?
Yeah, classic map. So ninth US, 8th US is the flagship high-tech infantry division. Bunch of M1A1s, bunch of the good stuff. Doesn't have Eagles, doesn't have Apaches, but compensates with way better, larger infantry squads than a lot of other Americans. Also, a bunch of Ranger special forces. But ninth US is the interesting. Ninth US was stationed in the south part of Denmark, I believe, and it was the place where the US military tested, or the US Army tested their weapons. So they have a bunch of experimental stuff, including the Dune buggies carrying the 50 caliber sniper rifle sniper teams. The Dune buggies, the FAVs, have 120 kph, which is the comparable to the Honker Rus and the Humvee Delta. Their recon helicopters have 20 millimeter cannons, though not that much, not that much ammunition. And their transport vehicles are really good. They have a bunch of 50 cals, really fast M998T ISCs, including with 40 millimeter grenade launchers. And the standard infantry, the light rifles compared to the mech rifles, gets an extra sniper rifle. So it does uh, beat the 8th infantry in 1v1 just barely. Also, among experimental vehicles, the COC-V GLH, meaning ground-launched Hellfire, acts very much the same as an air-launched Hellfire, except doesn't allow the launcher to move after firing. And this division is going to have to try to play way more aggressively than 8th, because it has no potential standing in late game against the massive armored component 8th US. Jogotard opening up with two F-16 fighters, which is pretty important considering 9th does also have a very powerful air component. And with the M150A1 recon vehicles with the 50 cals and the light tow missiles, that's some of the cheapest and best value early game damage that 8th can bring out. With the long range surveillance special forces trying to take a forward position here, pretty clear that in this matchup, 9th is going to be attacking and trying to get onto the zones. 9th US has a bunch of engineers there, which are specialized for this task exactly. And what they don't have on the ground outside of the 50 cows. Oh, wait, no, they do have an Avenger. So the Hog and the Kiowa Warrior have to run. The Avenger can do really quick damage really fast.
Yeah, the Kiowa does outrange it, but it doesn't fire on them, so the Avenger now can rapid fire, gets the first kill against the Kiowa, but not before the COCV GLH goes down, and you don't have many of those, so every single one that you lose there is big, and both infantry units go down in transport there. Oh, big misplay from T-Man, and it wouldn't be a T-Man play without T-Man completely messing up the opener. Oh, this is rough. That means 8th is in a driver's seat now in the north. Sure, no push towards the south, but that's normal. As you said, 8th has the better late game. So this situation right now for Team Place in the north, really uncomfortable, as he even loses the Avenger there to the Dragon of the Rangers. And this is a fantastic opener here for our player in red. Joker Tart really starting strong in this one, and Team once more has to show his comeback potential. Though, if there's one player in WARNO that is good at comebacks, that has learned it on the ladder, it's T-Man.
Yeah, for somebody whose job is basically doing betting with stocks, T-Man is a very calculative and not really a gambling type of a guy when playing. T-Man's big gamble here seems to be sending the FAVs and the recon helicopter to push the back point and X-ray. But this is not. This has paid off immensely well, and even a PVATS has been bought to deal with the recon heli. The engineers and the light rifles will be on X-ray before the PVATs can realistically counter them. And at this point, T-Man's big risk on getting on the back to the back point of X-ray is that trying to hold that point cannot be the priority if you're going to lose the 2-point zone at Lima. Currently only held by a single National Guard's infantry leader, and with some reinforcements trying to get out there. The M150s are great in pushing this. They're not valuable targets for the tow, but they can still do their job. And the Rangers will basically, and the LRS, be special
P-Bot
forces.
actually does get in range here, gets the helicopter, and gets to shred onto some of the light vehicles. Does not quite kill them with the units inside. Joker should have taken that fight, I believe. He does disengage there. I think that is a mistake. I think the Pivot actually could have won the fight, at least against the vehicles, and maybe even also against the infantry. I'm not sure why Joker is disengaging away there. The Pivot absolutely can shred those 50 cal trucks, but Joker does give the zone to the enemy for now. Hawk coming up. T-Man will get the southern zone, but at the same time, yeah, the holding on to the northern zone will be tough. Might even lose the TOW 2 here in transport. No, the M60 did shoot on the supply truck, gets the supply truck, but doesn't kill the TOW 2A. So that's at least will get into the zone itself. F-15 in the skies, that's a really expensive investment here by T-Man at the current stage where he is so low on ground units. It is hunting the Hawk and it will get the kill there most likely. Ooh, F-16 investment here gets shredded on the other side. The Pivot not helping out there in time for Joker, and yeah, that F-16 suiciding into an F-15, a bit too much of a gamble for my liking, but yeah, next F-15 coming in for the helicopters in the south. Joker may be over-investing into helicopters here, allowing the F-15s to actually pay off.
Yeah, but meanwhile, the drone is spotting the Joker attack at Lima, and with the limited infantry force here, the Rangers are beating the light rifles pretty handily, and even the light rifle reinforcements are not going to really be in the right position to do this. Some two more tanks and one more infantry squad of the PWATs are joining in, but T-Man has no reinforcements out of rerouting this tow Cobra to move out there. And so currently it looks like Joker is kind of getting the grab on T-Man, though T-Man's 50 cal sniper rifle doing immense damage up north. And at least the back point for the moment is not going to get back target.
Yeah, gets a CV in the north as well, so actually is the one here that's going to go on the +4. F-16 for Joker coming in. I don't get why Joker is fighting these fights. He needs to, he should wait for the IHawks. Like, he has long-range AA and he can then win the fight that way. Uses a cluster F-16 here, trying to kill the sniper. Doesn't even get that job done. F-16 here struggling to stay alive against the F-15. Forced back home as well. Those F-15s have been paying off massively. Like, yeah, the investment into helicopters and aircrafts here is kind of allowing T-Man players to get back into the game right now. M60 under fire by the ITO. So that one has to retreat as well. TOW 2 pushing forward, and Joker is in a good amount of trouble there as his pressure in the north has been pushed back. And he does not have anything to push into X-Ray right now. Invests into an M110 right now. Wants to use that to deal with the TOW 2 most likely. That's a solid investment. Wants to stabilize the front line, but I feel like he doesn't have that. And yet the air engagement's just really, really rough here right now.
Yeah, with the 260 point M110 on top of losing those planes and losing that tempo, this is giving T-Man a lot of time to just get back into those positions. Currently Joker is not threatening any reinforcement routes due to hiding from the unit hiding from the TOW 2. Though the TOW 2 right now is out of ammo, of course Joker doesn't know this immediately. PVAT's at least getting a nice burst and kill on TOW Cobra. So that is something right there. But Joker needs to start playing this like an armored division. I think there's going to be a lot of light rifles on the corners, and light rifles are very powerful. The artillery here, the M110, means that more defensive play, like getting the group of tanks up here, is now a little bit more preferable. Of course, it is still a -4 for Joker. So that's you can't can't be too tardy with that. And if we're playing the game of is this artillery buy justified, I would say it would be way more justified if he hadn't lost the air game. But I understand needing some removal tools because you didn't get the air supremacy.
Yeah.
Just that, like, just having a little bit more infantry could have meant so much more here.
Yeah, and I really don't get why he sent F-16 into F-15s, especially since the F-15s with the high ACM has the better survivability. And yeah, the F-16 has decent missiles as well, and it is the cheaper plane, so it is the more cost-efficient plane in general. If you have the numbers game and you have a Stinger on the ground, then the chances of you winning, sure, but if you just have them 1v1ing, that's not the way to go. And yeah, maybe if you can catch the F-15 in a turn, you can go for it, but he could have seen that that wasn't going to happen and should have just taken the F-16 out of the fight at that moment. Light rifles here at least getting shredded, light vehicles getting shredded, so there are a couple of victories here, but the M60s have to be careful. TOW2A hits them hard, and there is an M60 TTS here on the other side as well. Artillery comes in, trying to deal with the TOW2. Does deal good damage. TOW2A goes down, so now only the M60s need to be repaired. The ground fight's once more going well so far, but the M60s under pressure now by M60A3 TTS from the side of T-Man. And the one of T-Man is getting around the corner, is without any stress, so it will aim better. But the ones of Joker hitting fully stressed out. It was a pretty close range engagement. 2 hits here, still lucky. So in the end, it's an equal trade, and that's a lucky one for Joker, considering that his 2 were damaged, and the one of T-Man was a full hit point 1. F-16 coming out again here for Joker. I'm not sure what he tries to achieve with this. 2 F-50s on the other side hunting him. And now he gets the Eyehawks, but those will come in just after he lost all his aircraft. This is a really, really weird game in the air by Joker Tard.
Yeah, it's I mean, I get being surprised that your enemy once again has the Eagles out. The Eagles have the 240-second autonomy when they used to be 140, and also the it's kind of like not natural, but people, you just learn to think, oh, I'm just gonna send my plane up there to do some patrol. But then, because currently Joker did not have any air defenses on the ground, he didn't realize that he was sending the plane against the Eagles. Didn't realize that there were 2 Eagles. Maybe he thought that, well, if I see an Eagle, I can just run off. Maybe he was thinking that there could be a helicopter here. But nevertheless, now the fight is actually happening. M110 is doing pretty decent job, even though it is quite easy to dodge, especially if they don't get a perfect shot immediately. Mech rifles are getting an upvet, but so are the light rifles from the NG leader. And with only a single M60 doing fire support, the infantry damage in the towers and the buildings is going to win this for the moment. Artillery. There is an M1A1 Abrams coming in, still a little bit ways off, and the M110 is still targeting solely the TOW2 and not trying to get the infantry.
Yeah, though if you get all the TOW2s, the M1A1s have an amazing time against all the ground units, so that makes sense. There are only a couple Humvee TOW2s then left as high capacity ATGMs, and yeah, the TOW2A goes down immediately to the first shot here. So the M1A1, that will have a good day. We have an M60 and a CEV coming around as well. Issue is just that the +4 currently is pretty frustrating here for Joker. And T-Man's reaction after realizing that he messed up the northern engagement, really fantastic here with the push towards the south. We have a seat F-16 coming around now, as the Eyehawk has to be careful. Gets microed here, so together with the pivot, might even get the kill here. Does miss. F-16 seat heavily damaged by the pivot, has to move out there. Another M60A3 coming around, getting hit by the M901, which was a nice buff to 8th, that this one now has smoke, making this TOW2 launcher a good bit better. Ranger Dragons getting involved against the M60s, and the M1A1 now about to arrive here, and that will wipe the floor with the M60s, as they can't penetrate it from any decent range, while its heavy penetration will get through them really quickly, half-lifing them with every hit, basically, and on short range, maybe even one-shotting them.
Yeah, the the ITV TOW2 launcher does get got, and an F16 here coming on and actually not managing to get the kill, and with an F15 on standby, getting shot down. Also, leader getting taken out. I believe that was by an N60. Rangers leader is technically alive, but there needs to be supply to actually get into fighting condition. And meanwhile, the way closer reinforcement road or the reinforcement base of T-Man means that equal losses on both sides will be for T-Man's favor because T-Man has inherent defenders advantage.
Yeah, rifle law, under attack, T-Man still with the value in the south. Artillery here, the M110 should start firing again onto some spots in the zone. The CUCV GLH, another one of those, has arrived on the battlefield. And that one, as we talked about at the beginning, really, really powerful. Hellfire, super accurate, super long range, fast flying, hard hitting HGM. So dealing with that can be a bit annoying on the more open spaces. iHawk here on its own, not good enough. A second one or a third one even would be necessary to efficiently patrol the skies here, or clear the skies. M1A1 now pushing forward, but with little recon. It has the M60 and the CV behind it, but only 3 minutes 50 now till victory for T-Man. And that really is the big issue here. M1A1 now getting pushed by the M60s. M60s are decently close. Ranger Dragon and the second M60 of Joker potentially getting involved here as well. Light Rifle Dragons getting stunned down quite quickly. So those will be killed off or at least pushed back before they can achieve much. And the M60 of Joker getting involved. The M1A1 now trying to get into the fight. Moving around here, trying to get into a better spot. Shooting at the wrong target though, and now the F16 cluster 2 of T-Man comes in, gets the kill there. And the pivots, there are none. There's only the iHawk. With a pivot here around, the F16 cluster would have died at least. That would have been a fine trade for the long run. Though the long run might not be mattering with the 3-minute timer here. And without the M1, I don't see him breaking through here right now. And he needs to break through. He needs to get into the zone as there is no pressure on the south. There is an M60 actually testing what is going on at Oscar. And that is a pretty wise decision because there is nothing at Oscar. There is nothing at Papa. But you still would want to have more pressure on the north than you currently have as Joker. Because if you would have real pressure there, then T-Man couldn't buy reinforcements for the south. With the situation being what it is, T-Man still can afford reinforcing Papa. And with 2 minutes 23, there is no time here. The sniper rifles in a good spot as well. We might engage the Ranger leader here in a second as well. The Bradley at least gets to see them. Doesn't have the best stabilizer, but starts to deal decent damage here. So should be able to finish them off so that the Ranger leader at least can get through. But it will only reduce it to a +2 here, which still is a pretty quick tick to victory here for Team in Place. The loss of the M1A1, just one loss too much here at this point, I believe, for Joker Tard.
Yeah, it was a Joker got kind of bamboozled by the T-Man's really quick reaction early on, and the single buy of the PVATs to counter the enemy recon helicopter, and the fact that there just wasn't like organic defenses in that zone, not a single infantry unit watching a corner, a fire team or something like that. Of course, if you don't run fire teams, which I don't think Joker is doing, you're gonna have to commit a more expensive unit like mech rifle, so it's more unlikely that you're gonna have them there. Or the cheapest unit here possibly could be the MP Patrol. Even then, that one wouldn't necessarily do that much. And by that point, when T-Man won those early engagements there, completely abusing the strengths of ninth against the weaknesses of eighth, which is speed and ability to deploy and get good recon versus the expensive and heavy nature of eighth. not being able to respond quickly enough to that kind of situation. And since then it's been pretty close when it comes to these frontline attacks from Joker, and maybe with some of the points from the air attacks that you brought attention to, putting some of those into the ground attacks earlier on, having an extra CEV there to do fire support. I think the game could have gone differently, but it is unfortunate that that a game gets decided on such like an early play, but also it's 2 lakes, and this is
Well,
the best we can expect from this map.
it wasn't really the early play that decided it, though, right? Like, Teeman lost so
What?
many units in the north, but Joker, yeah, the counter investment into air there, like, he still had a chance afterwards, but he just bamboozled the hold with the pivot in the south. That pivot should have stayed there as well. And Teeman just with his standard senses just coming in, and then even after the first loss of the first F-16s in the air, Joker should have just stopped buying planes, but he kept throwing them in, and he kept losing them, and he kept not getting better combined arms on the ground, he kept not getting better AA on the ground, no IHawks until really late in the game, so that the Eagles and the strike aircraft of Teeman could get in and get out alive again. So yeah, really weird choices there by Joker after being handed a fantastic opener by Teeman. Like, Teeman's early game, like first 3 minutes were an absolute disaster, as you can see here. So yeah, Joker has nobody to blame but himself there for this loss.
Yeah, you're correct. The game wasn't decided early on, but it ended up looking like it did. Now, but like the thing here is that for beginner viewers to understand, the price of a single F-16, even the cheaper ones, is like pretty close to the price of 2 IHawks. And a single IHawk hitting a single F-15 puts it down to 1 health. So immediately can be bursted down by the gun AA. And this would have been the combo to actually get rid of the fighters and to push them down to repair. That is the time when you can actually use your cluster bombers if you have them and if you want to use them. But trying to secure the air supremacy with the inferior fighters, and I'm also thinking like maybe the logic of trying to get the F-16 out there was to hunt down the UAVs, to hunt down helicopters, and to counter enemy bombers. But T-Man didn't really end up doing that much with the bombers, instead buying a lot of tanks, the M60s. So maybe in this case also it would have been just better for to have the ground AA to counter T-Man's AA, have a few extra tanks so that T-Man at no point gets a mech advantage. Then T-Man has to trade down with the mechs, has to start buying planes, and by that point, when T-Man is buying planes, you already have your couple of IHawks and PVATs up. Of course, this is all just wish casting, and in practice, this stuff doesn't get planned out this well. But we want to explain that this game wasn't as straightforwardly a rollover by T-Man as it may have.
Yeah, and with that said, we're gonna go into a short break, guys, and we're gonna come with game number 2, where hopefully Joker can use advantages like he got here, maybe a bit better. Though, yeah, it's just Teeman, guys. Like 90% of the players would have been over after that beginner and wouldn't have done that attack on the south, and 95% of players would have still lost that push in the south because they would have been a bit too timid or so. And it's just Teeman in the end, though, coming through here, coming back from this disaster of an opener, and just showing how to get it done. And yeah, let's see if he can do it again, or if Joker can equalize the score in game number 2 in this best of 5. So here we go, everybody. Game number 2, Teeman versus Joker. As we are going on the lovely, lovely map of Kreide with the beautiful Kreidefelsen once more here. One of the most scenic maps that we have in WARNO at the moment. And before we jump in there, a quick shout out, guys, because Matcherino is still waiting, guys. We still have a couple of free codes remaining that you can use up by going to the page with the link in the chat and then clicking the claim code button to add free money to the prize pool. 25 cents for each click on the claim code button. And really all you have to do is clicking that. You don't have to watch any ads or anything. And that's 25 cents to the prize pool, completely for free for you, completely for free for me. Being paid out in real money to these players in the end here, though. And both of these players are already in the prize money as from the 4th place onward in Division 1. Thanks to all of your support and getting us over 200 bucks already. We get some prize money there. And hey, Sticks, thanks for the Twitch Prime there. Greyhound, welcome to the channel on YouTube as well. Good to see you around. And yeah, let's talk about this aggressive matchup here.
Yeah, and everybody remember, if you get all of the codes, that will load up Protos's web marketing ultimate and allow him to get even more codes the next season. So let's go get those final ones up.
Yeah, but we might even still get new ones for this season. Like, Matcherino is pretty nice there. Whenever you use them up and with a couple of time in between, you can ask for more. So we could even ask for more free money. So yeah,
that's interesting. I mean, this is all literal dark magic. I don't want to hear anything more of it. It's like opening the Necronomicon. But anyways, this is 11th horse for T-Man going against the 4th Zmek infantry division for the Polish and Joker. So 4th Zmek here is going full on into 4th traits. Honker Rus Rospecialny with the cannon-armed Mi-2 recon helicopters, going and basically trying to take everything, pushing even into Delta with a single Honker Rus here, and supported by a bunch of Gniewosh, Malyutka, and Strela missile attack helicopters. We could literally call this Gniewosh is an attack helicopter. It is a gunship. With some light T-55 Merida and BMP-1 infantry and mech support here, but even these are upvetted, and the Polish cheap combined arms is going to face the opener master of 11th Horse. This is the opener division, opener brigade of NATO in World War III, the first one to meet. So it has M1 ACAVs. It has a bunch also of the anti-air helicopters and some Bradleys to bring out opener firepower here. The fundamentals of 11th Horse are not as powerful as other comparable divisions, but it does get the forward deploying M1 ACAV, which is already opening fire on some of the Polish troops here. Helicopters trading away at each other, and this, I believe, is a victory for T-Man. T-Man does get F-16s, which are better than the planes that Polish get generally, and the T-Man is not reliant on those OH-58 SS.
And that last OH here, killing off 2 Gniewoshes without being shut down. This is a really nice victory. Joker here really playing all gas, no brakes with the Polish light division here. Putting the pedal to the metal, trying to rush through the north. Honker Rus with Specialnys going down in a lot of places though. BMP-1s with Pichotek Smek coming around. There is a strong defensive setup here by T-Man in the south, so that Merida and BMP-1 formation will have to be careful. Whilst the BMP-1s and Meridas in the northern part of the map try to go deep there as well, but the Bradleys and the Humvee scouts are in a decent spot there. Though the Merida should be able to deal with that if the recon can find it. No CV on the battlefield yet, only now coming in for Joker. So yeah, Joker really trying to play this as fast as possible. But the helicopter play in the middle did fail. The OHs with the slightly higher quality stingers there getting the job done. And the engagement in the south here, I'm not a big fan of either. The CEV, the Martyrs there, all in good enough positions that I don't think Joker's force down here can get the victory, so he should just hold the forest for now. wait for more reinforcements and maybe focus a bit more on the northern engagements, which are going a good bit better. Bradley's CP of Team in place forced back, and the Meridas and infantry there are on a good pathing to have a chance of dealing with his forces there.
Yeah, T-Man, no Joker is sending a rocket-armed Mi-2 Urn to support the southern attack, and there is no anti-air organically there. There is the OH-58. So, and the Stinger is coming in here. Of course, Mi-2s have full health, so they can be one-shot by Stingers. Stinger is very much a hard counter. And on this front line of Martyrs and Bradleys, I don't really see the rocket helicopter being the best counter here. And the Merida has an engine destroyed. Oh,
Yeah.
no, and
reinforcements are coming in there to try to repair it, but it needs some units around it for actually getting back into shape. And yeah, the Mi-2 Urn here immediately running into a Stinger. That's not the perfect situation. Stinger there likely will get the kill off soon. And the Bradley in the north able to disengage. The VD-43 truck here is coming forward to get the capture. Me-2RO getting shut down as well. The fighters on the side of the Polish, as you said, not that great. You really usually want to saturate the AA up with coops later on. Merida now pushing into the Bradley. Good smoke play there. But the Merida in the south at the same time does fall, and this is under a lot of pressure there. So the northern push here needs to get a bit more done here for Joker to actually set the pressure off here. The VD-43 is moving in. That is good. But the Bradley is able to disengage, and more forces can start to come around it and set up a combined arms force for Team in place that maybe can push back in there. Whilst Joker currently just reinforcing the south, so few new units coming in to help out with that push in the northern part of the map.
Yeah, Joker is really trying to push as far as they can, even past the point of Delta, which I think might be the correct choice. You want to prevent your enemies from getting up there on the hill from those 2 entrance points, or actually 3 entrance points. So pushing even far past Delta is valid, especially if you have such a numbers advantage there situationally. But meanwhile, T-Man is moving units to start countering the attack on Bravo, and reinforcements are probably not going to be able to stretch both for Joker, for both holding Bravo and fighting off T-Man when T-Man can get reinforcements really quickly from the base. Also, T-Man seems to has an air supremacy here. MiG-23 MF is coming out here for the Polish, but no coup so far. And Osa actually is, and Osa is faster deployed than the coup, so it might be the right choice for this fight.
Yeah, currently only red units dying, though none of great value, so all these can be replaced, especially if you get a big kill like an M1A1. BRDM2 Conquerors trying to get the shot there, but not hitting so far. M1A1 ACAF disengaging. Joker actually being able to get the capture of the southern zone here with a VD-43 is actually able to get a decent tick online here. Gets another push into the north. Will get ahead of T-Man here in a second with a +3. That's 120 points per minute. That's still 15 minutes to victory, so it won't finish the game anytime soon, but it will give him the nice point lead that you always want to have on this map, especially as the more aggressive division, so that the enemy has to push you back, has to get to you, and maybe has to risk some things that they don't want to risk. +2 here. Really nice position now for Joker when it comes to the points, and finally starts to get some kills. Cyanide goes down. Ooh, the cluster bomber might find some value as well, though it got shut down, but at least it kills... Oh no, only one martyr. M1A1 still alive. So not nearly getting its money back in value, but a couple of blue units started to die here as well, so the trade's not as one-sided here right now. The Cyanide kill in the north was pretty big. The BRDM2 Conquerors in a great spot. Though 2 M1A1s here by now for T-Man, so I'm not so sure how long Joker can still hold out in the southern zone.
Yeah, and the northern zone, there's also an Abrams and a Sea Knight coming out there with no reinforcement so far. Piakota SVD is being bought, and it is a fast transported unit at the 100 kph, and the BRDM conquers now, but the Abrams is already there. The Abrams is already there. There's a single, the BMP and a T-55 to fight it, and the Rospecialny are gonna get taken out by the Sea Knight just now. The Sea Knight is an exceptional ATGM helicopter in that it has way more rockets, only 4 ATGMs. The Sea Knight is like a night vision system. It's in the name, Sea Knight.
And Honker is here trying to deal Vivid. Vivid's good MG, does good damage, but gets killed off by the support. Hibernatory gets the kill though, but at the same time, all the ground units here start to fall. And there's only the Merida. The Merida with a side shot maybe could start to take a toe on the M1A1, but that one now does get moved back. Teeman not risking it further. Dismounted troopers pushing forward. The new reinforcements of Joker can't come in fast enough. More being bought there, and yeah, they should all go for the north. I don't think he has any chance pushing the south. I think he should be fine with what he got there, but he needs to keep the hold into the rear zone in the north right now. So all the reinforcements that he can get there should go there. Maybe another OSAR so that your cluster bombers are a bit better protected against the enemy F-16s, and you can trade away against those maybe. But instead, it's a lot more BMPs coming around. F-16 gets a nice kill on a recon helicopter in the south, might be enabling some real line action here for team and players down the line. But the big push here now is coming in the north. Teeman pushing in there with an M1A1 and the Bradley. More reinforcements coming in, and the southern zone is staying at the stalemate situation for now.
Yeah.
Oh, Merida goes down to the LRS. Oh, nice ambush there by Teeman. Even might get the BMP1 as well. No, runs out of laws, but a nice kill there on a key tank for the forces of Joker. Like, that maybe couldn't deal so well with the M1A1s, but it can check the Bradleys, it can check the Martyrs, and losing it is still pretty frustrating at this point.
Yeah, with a jammer helicopter getting out there, both going to draw in some fire from the anti-air and also act as a really good spotter for the Abrams. So T-Man is kind of getting into exactly what he wants to do. Light on infantry, heavy on helicopter, air, and Abrams. Su-22 cluster dive bomber tried to get in here.
Ooh, gets pushed back, gets shredded by the F-16. The F-16 goes down on the other side as well, but the M1A1 does live, and that's another tool lost that can deal with them, and you don't have endless tools there. One issue of the Polish is that the amount of high-quality ATGMs that you get is super limited. You only get the Conkers mounted on the BRDM, and you only get one card of those, so tools that can deal with the M1A1s are basically in your air tab and your helicopter tab, and losing any single cluster bomber plane here is so painful, and two of them by now have gone down, so the M1A1s start to become safer and safer and bigger of a threat for our player in red. And the point lead here for Joker, not that significant yet, so Joker still needs to keep up the pressure, needs to move the VD-43 in here, but the M1A1 gets a Bradley, gets to disengage here. The BRDM conquers, does miss. Bradley trying to come around for the VD-43. The Heimatjäger and dismounted troopers pushing in there as well, and Joker is in a world of trouble.
Yeah, Piakota SVD can fight off these zero-vet infantry pretty decently as long as they don't have any fire support. And yeah, getting pushed into zero-vet, there could have been a second defensive line that could have completely checked out, removed the jammer helicopter, get some side shots and a bad engagement and a stun against the M1A1. But T-Man had that game like going pretty nice. There were not a lot of bad luck for T-Man, and with Joker, I think the attacking every side with your aggro opener is always risky. You're always like doing the most stretching of your forces that you can do. And with the fourth Polish, its like units are not powerful enough to solo enemy units, so you always need to have the combined arms there. And doing the attack against T-Man, and especially T-Man center, where the light helicopters were completely taken out, meaning that Joker could not use the middle to exploit. The middle units could not start to apply pressure northwest or south, couldn't like connect anything. The tactical value of the middle not working out was massive, because after that Joker only had two separate engagements, which don't really interact with each other, and both of them need the same like amount of combined arms. And that was never gonna, without trading really well early on, that was never gonna happen without the middle providing the kind of tactical flexibility where you could put anti-air units, you could have a bunch of your recon units spot the enemy from very far away. You would have a space where you could move your T-55 Meridas and your Concourses, but getting locked down into those small spaces, uh, yeah, this was very nicely controlled by T-Man. I didn't see any obvious mistakes, not really from Joker's side either, except for the choice of the opening fight,
Yeah,
opening tactic.
and maybe the slight overstepping in the south with the opening units, meaning that he couldn't reinforce the north as much because he needed to send more units to contest the south further. And yeah, that really cost you with fourth ZMAC being so reliant on keeping the tempo, keeping the pressure up, and not allowing a division like 11th to get its combined arms up. Every small tempo hit like that, especially combined with the opening helicopter fight, is really brutal. So if you play a division like that where you are pedal to the metal, all gas, no brakes, this punishes you. So yeah, short break, guys, and then we're gonna see how T-Man can do in the next game, if he can get the match ball through, or if Joker can find a way to claw themselves back into the series and stop T-Man here and get a reverse sweep. As yep, short break, guys. Then game 3 in this best of 5. So here we go, everybody. Game number 3, Joker Tart versus Team in Place, and we go in on the lovely map of Mount River with a really interesting matchup. On the left side, Team in Place coming in with one of his wild picks, his wildcard picks that he loves to bring around because he has to play these kind of divisions on stream anyways, so he might as well use his knowledge of them. Coming around with 50-second infantry, but Joker is playing the 3rd US, but he is playing at a bit of meta, or a bit of brand, not of meta really, because the Kiowa Warrior is a meta division if I've ever seen one, but playing at a bit of brand here with a more helicopter-focused opener. No M1A1s, no Bradleys here coming around outside of one CV. Instead, a lot of helicopters here coming in, and yeah, before we jump in, I just wanted to say thank you for all of you for tuning in. It's been an absolute pleasure once more here with this series of games. WARNO League Season 4 is an absolute blast again. WARNO Leagues in general, I have enjoyed this game over the last 3 years constantly, and the competitive play around it. And yeah, thanks for all of you for joining us in this as we're going in here into game number 3. And yeah, what do you think about the chances of this wild Joker Tart opener working against this wild division pick of Team in Place?
Yeah, so as you pointed out before we went on air, the VIB, which is the anti-air transport vehicle, which has smoke and goes 100 kph and transports a squad of Commando de l'Air. This thing is the natural predator of the Kiowa Scout and the Kiowa Warrior. These things are 4 health helicopters with no armor, and the whether they're going to use their very expensive Hellfire missiles to take out these first French fast transports, or if T-Man is going to be able to press the B button when the Veeps start smoking, and then you can just micro for like 4 seconds and all, no, actually like 3 seconds, and you get every single one of those Hellfires wasted. This is something that can be done. It's not even that difficult if the enemy with the Kiowa Warriors is not paying attention, and it could absolutely destroy Joker's opener. Joker is doing a recon rush with recon vehicles, as well as a helicopter drop with aircraft troopers, supported by Hogs, which are the rocket Cobras. But outside of this, there are no fundamentals. Even T-Man's French Marines, the Marsouin and the Milan 2s, as well as the VABs, which in themselves are quite capable, fast, and powerful vehicles, 50 cals. I loathe to say it, but 1/52 here has just completely better fundamentals. And if Joker doesn't get something, it's going to be impossible to build up a tank force.
The thing is, though, there's only the VIBs. Like, yes, the VIB is a good AA piece, but it is still not max range. It doesn't have any missiles or anything. And there is not a single AA piece behind it. There is no Mistral teams. There are no cars. No, what's the AA piece called again? Quartel. The Quartel. None of those are around either. So if the VIBs go down, then the helicopters have a pretty big opener, especially the Hogs. And the VIB number 1 doesn't even see, but the Kiowa misses. Oh, that's terrible news. And then the rest flies into the VIB. Kiowa does miss again, doesn't have the line of sight there, gets the one on the south killed. So south is open, but the VIB in the middle is getting a lot of value there. Hog maybe can stand it down in time. The Kiowa down to 1 rocket, gets the kill there against the VIB in the middle as well. So the Hawk there can do a bit of damage as well. And the south is pretty open. EBR here moving forward, the Kiowa coming around, but we have triple Crusader coming in on the other side. No F-15 out, and that's a big problem.
Yeah,
I was expecting a fighter here minute 1, but why was there no fighter minute 1, Joker? Like, this should have been the most obvious thing. 30 seconds later, he's buying an F4 Phantom. Why hasn't this been around a minute, like 20 seconds earlier? Why did he allow that to happen? This is pretty rough, as those Crusaders got a good bit more value than they deserve to get. We still have 2 of the Kiowa Warriors around. We still have a weird positioning on both sides. But the next Kiowa Warrior gets down by the Crusader. Oh no, Blackhawks desperately need to be sold. They are 60 points apiece, so selling them allows you to actually get some more values. But at the same time, Milan 2 gets a Bradley on the ground. And yeah, the trades here not going so well for Joker so far.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Protoss, the Crusaders are perfect helicopter killers and are 80 points. But you're correct that the plane should have been there like just a little bit earlier, and that's not the only thing where with Joker where it looked like he was getting overwhelmed. The air cap troopers, when they were unloaded, stood there under fire, not commanded to move into any of the buildings, and the T-Man's like opener, especially down south here, and the fact that all of those helicopters are vulnerable and do need to get microed against even 50 cows. I think Joker just mismicroed a little bit too much, and now 3 out of 3 engagements are not going well here. EBR 90 is actually pushing into the reinforcement road
So
up
the
in the
one
northeast.
in the south goes down. Bradley does get the victory there. Milan 2 gets the M150 on the other side though. M2A2 Bradley here trying to push forward, trying to deal with the next EBR 90. M150 helping out there and getting that zone. The Bradley in the north did at least kill off all the VABs, but that's the good part about the 152nd. That's the one nice thing that it got. It has a lot of APCs that it can throw at the enemy to face check bushes and stuff. And now the M150 here of Joker needs to smoke off. Milan 2 coming in. It smokes off a bit too late, but luckily for it, the Milan 2 does miss. Alpha Jet's coming around, so time for the next Phantom to show up here. As the Alpha Jet is coming up with 400 kilogram bombs, and those do hurt quite a bit. Bradley under fire did get spotted, and that's likely the end of this Bradley. And yeah, there it goes. That's why you need the Phantoms here relatively early on in this matchup, because the French, they have annoyingly cheap planes. Those planes can be picked off quite easily, and in the long run, the F-15s and F-4s should dominate here. But yeah, in the early game, if you don't have them around, those planes can get annoying amounts of value against your pretty expensive ground units, and that's what happened there. So Joker, once more under pressure, he did get a decent amount of kills though. Like his Kiowa Warriors did actually get a couple of kills. He did hold out in the south decently well. His Recon Bradley there is still alive. He did stop the take from happening so far in the point of T-Man. Moving around the Kiowa Warrior north. Only issue is the north is still the one place where VIB is still alive, but he should be able to find the EBR at least.
Yeah, the April, is pushing northeast, supported by a Crusader actually, with an EBR 90 watching the reinforcement road and gonna take out this MP patrol and the PVADs. Crusader finds out and dives a Kiowa Warrior. That's a very expensive and crucial plane. You don't get a lot of those.
Yeah, Phantom gets the kill at least on the that, and can come in for the 20mm helicopters now to get a bit of extra value there. Gets one shot down, second one pushed. Pivot will come around and deal with that most likely anyway, so there is still the EBR now, and that didn't get found by the Kiowa Warrior. And that is a real issue, as the Pivot is now open to be shot. Joker keeps the pressure up south, has an M1A1 around, and there is a real lack of capabilities to deal with that in the long run on the side of T-Man's 152nd. Especially once the F4 numbers here get good enough. Alpha Jet coming around again, but the Phantom still has a good amount of Sparrows. Should just come south. Cluster Bomber here coming in on the side of Joker as well. Second Phantom coming in here. The Alpha Jet will get on top of the aircraft troopers, but this time around will die right after, and does even miss all the bombs, so that wasn't the value hit. And Joker actually with a good pressure here now in the south. That's where the Kiowa Warrior got the most kills at the beginning, and this is where the capabilities against the M1A1 start to really suffer. Only EBR 90 is now around, and those are not the answer. They deal 1 damage per hit. They don't have the best accuracy in the first place, so those will really struggle. Cluster versus Milan 2s, that's not really the solution. They do a bit of damage, but they miss with the bombs as well, so yeah, should have just gun-runned it completely in the first place with the Vulcan. Then the Vulcan even might have killed it because it had more time of target, and you could have used the cluster elsewhere. Bit of a misuse there by Joker, whilst the M1A1 and the Bradley do keep on pushing in the south. Got the EBR there, and maybe can start pushing towards Bravo.
Yeah, T-Man is taking 2 more EBRs and sending them to counter reinforcement roads, even on the southern area. Mirage flight going against the Phantom. Phantom doing quite nicely here. And though a third Mirage might actually dogfight this.
Yeah, the guns, the 230mm is just good enough here in the end, as the other Phantom is back at base right now, can't help out. So yeah, 1 versus 3 then, maybe a bit too much at the end. The pivot goes down in the center to the Milan 2, so Joker starts to take some casualties here again. Alpha Jet is around again, no fighters out right now. Crotel now comes onto the battlefield, but there is some pressure here for Joker in the south. So at the same time, he needs more pressure there because his north is completely collapsing, and the EBRs here are going completely rampant in his rear line now. So those have to be found out. Hammett is being evacuated here as Apache ATGM coming to the battlefield. The Crusaders have been dealt with, so the Apache can come around a bit safer now, but you still want to have F-15s and F-4s ready to get out any of those Mirages that potentially come in on the other side.
Don't they get a second card of Crusaders?
Yeah, but those can't shoot at helicopters. Those.
Oh yeah, that's they're the ones without guns.
Well, they have guns, but they don't kill Apaches.
Oh wait, yeah, no, they carry the 1 long range missile. Yeah, it's one of the stupid ones that nobody ever plays. Yeah, so
no, it's really Joker, good at killing planes, but because those are long range fire and forget missiles, but it sucks at helicopters.
Yeah. Joker is getting into a pretty weird engagement with a scouts team and some recon vehicles opening fire. The fact that the Alpha Jets are still out there doing damage, the Alpha Jets are bullying weapons. They are weapons to use when you are in a stronger position regarding air power. And yeah, the single Phantom could just long range missile it to death. We saw there the fact that this only happened now, and the Alpha Jets have been trading up recently is a big problem for Joker. But now that Joker seems to be, I mean, this is not really stabilizing, but managing to hold the reinforcement road for now, wrestling some air control, and still holding the southern zones despite T-Man having the better tab, the better infantry tab. If the Apaches here can start doing something, especially with maybe even the Bradley take out the Crotal.
Oh, but he starts to lose the Phantoms here. Mistral gets another shot here out of it, most likely. Yeah, another missile coming out. 1 Phantom does survive, but losing a Phantom and a cluster F-16 here in the middle against the Crotel, that's just really rough. And the Milan 2 is even still alive. Like, the cluster bombing runs against Milan 2 teams are a weird thing that we have seen now a couple of times from Joker. I'm not sure if usually he gets the kills with those reliable, but I feel like just turning off the weapon and just gun running it is more efficient. I don't know. It just feels really odd, and it hasn't been successful here, so not sure if it's usually as successful for him, and that's why he does it. Or if he just tries to desperately use anything he can get against the ATGM teams, because he might not have any HE bombers in the deck. Apache is here now, starting to deal with the Commander Lair, with their strong 30mm cannon. Got some kills there against VABs as well with the ATGM. The Hellfire is fantastic, but that's the issue now where the F4s are not around anymore. Those just got wasted against the Crotel, and that means your Apache is down as well, because you can't stop the Mirage, and yeah, really, you shouldn't use your fighters in third US offensively. They should be purely defensive weapons to protect your tanks, to protect your Apaches. Gets the Alpha Jet, but doesn't get the Mirage, and that means this is once more not a cost-efficient trade. And the bomb even drops, so it's not a cost-efficient trade at all, as those bombs eliminated 2 more infantry squads in the south.
And another EBR is opening fire against the Bradley. Just took itself a military police unit. Gonna take a Bradley. expensive Bradleys.
Yeah, Bradley's can't spot up here. And the EVR takes another one out. Gets another shot here. This is a pretty big disaster right now for Joker. Trying to get the Bradleys forward. More units coming in towards the south. Super Red and Dark Cluster coming against the M1A1, ML90s, rolling down the road and yeah, just overwhelming the forces here. Joker really struggling, and there we go. 3-0 victory for T-Man. And we have a grand final of the veterans here, of the former champions, coming up as Joker goes down 0-3 against the legend. T-Man plays once more in a WARNO League finals. And yeah, we have Pro Commie versus T-Man plays in the grand finals. That's a fantastic one. Absolutely excited for that.
I'm sorry, in YouTube chat, Red asked if this was a Joker counter pick. I believe Joker picked first here, and T-Man counter picked with 152nd, which is a T-Man specialty. Nobody else really plays this. But yeah, I mean, this was if you had asked me at the start of the league, like what is your call for a Division 1 grand finale final? I mean, Pro Commie versus T-Man plays would have been my first answer. It was never like gonna be certain. Both of these players, there are a bunch of people here who can take games out of them. A bunch of people here who could have, like, theoretically got themselves into different matchups. But in the end, T-Man versus Pro Commie is where it is at. I think it is a matchup worthy of the game. They truly are some of the most consistent players. They don't make the same kinds of mistakes that we can see even recently with people like Lathens and Stardeck, who are also like absolutely top tier. And regarding these latest games here, I feel like every game of Joker felt like Joker started out from the assumption that they were not going to win the late games. They constantly tried to do like early finishes. Even the helicopter cheese here, taking a lot of risks to not have to play T-Man in the late game. And at no point did this succeed. Even when T-Man completely like messed up the openers, even then it does not get shaken. A very stable guy, and just does the correct choices to apply the correct amount of pressure to relieve the weak parts of his defenses. And it really is something to watch. T-Man's stream, of course, is the largest on WARNO for basically this reason, that he really is consistent, and consistent in streaming also.
Yeah, and doing a really, really good job here once more. Looking forward to this grand finals. Third place match between Joker and Dark Neutron. And yeah, Pro Commie and Team Plays here coming in for the grand final. It'll be pretty exciting as well, as Pro Commie is just, you can describe him pretty similar. He is just really, really consistent as well. He does focus a bit more on his divisions each season, though those are always a bit off the brand, though it feels like he is ahead of the others. Not that he's playing just weirdly off meta. Nope, he is just feeling a bit ahead of the other players, especially in the tournament meta. Last season's with the second UK, this time around with how much he plays 9th Panzer, when everybody else kind of left it on the wayside. And he has the great results with them. So looking forward to see how that grand final will go and what kind of matchups we will get there. And we will let you know as soon as we have a date for all of that. And with that said, guys, thank you all for watching once more. Thank you for all the new follows. Thanks for the channel joiners here, Erwin von Wolfstein and Styx with the Twitch Prime. Much appreciating all the support. And yeah, it's great to see you all around here. I'm really looking forward to the next season with Southek around, because Southek is a long time in the oven, guys, but it's also looking in my eyes from somebody who has eyes on it from a bit more in the inside to become one of the best, if not the best, patch we ever got for WARNO. So really excited for that as well. And yeah, see you all in the next one, when we most likely have the next stream with some more Division 3 and 4 games. And then, yeah, as I said, Pro Commie versus T-Man coming up as soon as possible. So we're gonna end it here, and we're gonna send you over to Vulcan, who is playing the Wandering Village here today, which is a pretty fun little city builder on a big dino. And tell him that you want to see him back on WARNO more, guys. Not just WARNO Wednesdays, but WARNO Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays.